Welcome back to the Bold Business Podcast. We are continuing our Midheaven series. Yes, you heard that right. Going through all 12 of the zodiac signs of the Midheaven, breaking them down, talking about my system of cosmic leadership archetypes. This is where you find out what your fame frequency is. This series is where you unpack your gifts as a leader, your unique magnetism as a leader, what attracts people to you, your work, and how you are of service. Often our midheaven is a blind spot. But if you listen to this podcast, like, subscribe, comment, all the things, it will not be a blind spot for you anymore because you'll know exactly how to start harnessing the power of your magnetism in your astrology chart and putting it to your advantage. So let's get into it. We got to talk about midheaven in Taurus. This midheaven in Taurus is the archetype of the guardian. And I am going to pop up a slide for those of you who are watching. I'll describe it for those of you who are listening, where I'm going to talk all about these Taurian qualities and why you, as a guardian, are so well placed to serve and lead in your particular way. This is really, really valuable information for anyone who is an influencer, who creates content, anyone who has a brand or is wanting to build their personal brand, because the midheaven just is that girl. So here we have Taurus midheaven, the guardian. There are a few core aspects of Taurus midheaven people. And likely, if you've never heard about this before, you wouldn't realize, you wouldn't know that these are traits that you are naturally exuding. But mark my words, the people who work with you, your friends, people who see you out and about, who are side by side with you, maybe your clients as well, they see these qualities in you, and these are the qualities that they value the most. So number one, you are reliable. You are someone who is just that like salt of the earth, reliable kind of person. What you say is what you're going to do. You give this off. Now, if you have a lot of other maybe air or fire energy in your chart, that can, also be coming across in the way that you present yourself, in the way that you are of service. But the thing that people see about you and are attracted to in you is this sense of reliability. You seem like a stable, sure thing. And that's very attractive. You're not someone that people perceive is like constantly changing their personality. You're not someone that people see as like, we're getting one version of you today and one version of you tomorrow. And you're not someone who, people think are going to tell secrets out of school. They believe that you are a secret keeper. Whether or not you actually are is not my point right now. This is the energy that you give off. And this is your natural, your natural way, your natural gift. A lot of us can end up, sadly, becoming conditioned out of our natural way by the pressures and situations, that come up in life and from the world. But really letting go and shedding the old ways that no longer serve you, you can get back to the core of who you are. You can truly embrace your authentic self. And this is a piece of that. Okay, so you're reliable. You're also self-assured. There are a few other synonyms we could use here. Stubborn would be one of them. Stubborn is one of those words that is constantly attributed to Taurus. If you are a Taurus sun person, you know that already. People call you stubborn. And for some, that is a source of pride, right? But really, what's at the base of that? You are sure of yourself. You are sure of what you believe in. You are sure of your principles, right? Jute, I believe it is. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right in Korean, right? You are sure of yourself, and that is something that is very attractive about you. People feel like when they come to you, they know what they're going to get, and you have a confidence and a certainty about you that is very reassuring in this wild, mad world, right? Another aspect of you is that you are protective. You are someone who, this is why I called this the guardian. There are lots of different names, that when I was developing this archetype system back in 2020 that I came up with for the different signs, but guardian just was so perfect for Taurus. This is not the same as Taurus Midheaven. This is not the same energy as Taurus Sun or Taurus Mercury or Taurus whatever. This is Taurus Midheaven. So this is you as a leader. This is the elevated higher self aspect of you. You are protective, and people feel that from you. They feel that because of your self-assuredness, your stubbornness, because of your reliability, being a secret keeper, being someone who just, what you say is what you get, that you are also protective. You're also someone, we can't forget that Taurus Midheaven is someone who, is ruled, that their career energy anyway, is ruled by the planet Venus, because Venus rules Taurus and Libra, interestingly. And so you're someone who also values beauty and comfort. I've worked with some incredible Taurians in my experience. Shout out to you, incredible queens. And kings actually as well, but that you value beauty and comfort, and like that is wonderful. Like if I want a cozy but bougie night in, I go to a Taurus Midheaven, maybe a Taurus moon as well. But that Taurian energy is so like juicy and lovely, and just loves the best of the best quality, high quality, luxury, handcrafted, beautiful, one of a kind. All of this is very Taurus, and especially Taurus Midheaven. So if you have a brand, you're a business owner with a brand, your brand needs to be beautiful, and it's your version of beautiful. There's no one version of beautiful. Hello, right? You could be, boho, like Malibu, beach goddess chic. You could be, queen of the boardroom. You could be, old Hollywood glamour. You could be, Liberace on steroids. Like all of these things, right? There's no one way to be beautiful, but there is this real aesthetic sense about people's brands who are Taurus Midheaven, and an aesthetic that is so recognizable, and it's so them. And there's probably something about it that is quite luxury. Because there's that sense of comfort, that sense of ease, that sense of like slow down. This is an earth sign, Taurus. So this is not a brand that is like, kabah, kabah, blah. It's a brand that's about, quality, high standards, values, the best of the best. That is what is going to come through. And it's already naturally coming through. The more that you tap in and harness the power of your midheaven, the more that you're going to see it. Okay. Also, you are someone who favors stability and security, right? And that goes along with being reliable and protective. So something that's quite interesting, and we're going to get into some celebrity examples in a moment, but something that's quite interesting is that most people who have Taurus Midheaven have Leo rising. And a lot of them will identify more with the Leo, and the Leo is fire. So there's a lot of comedians. There's a lot of comedians and people with big, bubbly personalities, like who are Taurus Midheaven. So you might be like, okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds like me. That's because that's who you are inside, right? That's who you are for yourself. You have this beautiful Leo heart that is just like, this is how you see yourself, but it's not how other people see you. How other people see you is you are someone who is reliable. It's not the fire, it's the earth that is very attractive about you. This is why people want to give you their money. This is why people want to be close to you. This is why people want to work with you in your particular area of expertise, whatever that is, because you exude this like, oh, I'm going to give you the best. I'm going to do the thing that is high quality. I'm going to base my expertise on the past and what is provable and what is real and what is grounded. That is the Taurus Midheaven magic, baby. Okay, so let's talk about some celebrities. Here we are. Okay, so these are 3 celebrities that I chose as examples. As always, just because I choose a celebrity doesn't mean that I love and everything that they do and say and approve of it all. But I do think that these are some good examples of Taurus midheavens here. So let's start with Jessica Alba. So Jessica Alba, in 2024, exited as creative director of her company, The Honest Company. And I always like to talk about that. She built it up to, I think, a billion, more than $1 billion brand. Like, after a successful career as an actress, right? And the Honest Company is so Taurus coded. I can't even like I. This is why I love using Jessica as an example here, because the Honest Company is all about honesty, right? And about quality. Like they ran on this platform, right, of quality products, quality ingredients, clean products for your children, for your babies, for your home, right? And it was this idea of like honesty and cleanliness and quality and very Taurus, right? And it was very grounded, very earthy, and very quality focused. So I love that. I think, Jessica started this company because she became passionate about those things when she had kids. And she was like, look, she's the guardian. She needs to protect those kids. She needs to create a stable and healthy environment. Taurus is often about the body, right? And so those aspects, I think, make her a really great example of a celebrity, a business woman with that Taurus leadership energy. Love it. In this series, I am sharing some quotes with you guys. So here we are with Jessica's quote. Okay. I tried to pick quotes that sounded quite Taurus midheaven to me. So here we go. Jessica says, I was pretty determined from a very young age. I've always been on my path. And if the system didn't agree with it, I thought, okay, I don't care. This is what I'm doing. Very stubborn and strong-willed. My parents blame my astrological sign, Taurus. So she's also Taurus sun. Because my brother is certainly not as stubborn as I am. And I've always said, do your thing. I love that. I think that's great. Okay, so very Taurus, and she knows it. So our second example today is the queen of the silver screen, gone long before her time, certifiable genius, Marilyn Monroe. She is such an incredible woman, and I'm so sad that she, left this earth so young. But we have some incredible quotes, some incredible works from her. Her legend lives on, and she was a Taurus midheaven queen. And so, I think there is no surprise that her legacy is one of beauty, sensuality, that she was all about, this kind of goddess archetype that feels very Taurus to me. She was beautiful. She was, gave this like expensive vibe, right? A kiss on the hand, maybe quite continental, but diamonds are, you get it, right? All right. And so she had this persona, and her work was very Taurusy, at the same time, behind the scenes, she was like, I think the first woman to create like her own production company, and she funded her own projects, and she like did so much behind the scenes that we still don't even talk about, we don't even think about when we think of her. But she was an actual genius, very smart businesswoman, very smart marketeer, etc., and did a lot of firsts for women in Hollywood. And so I also feel like that is very Taurian, because she was like all about creating that, coming out of a very chaotic, difficult childhood, creating that stability and security for herself, right? And getting the best of the best. She worked harder than anyone else. Everyone on set was always like, oh my God, she was always just practicing, getting all these experts to help her out, and just really wanting to give the best performances she possibly could. And I also want to bring in a quote from Marilyn. Maybe not everyone knows, I don't know at this point, but she was also an incredible ally for Black and LGBTQ plus people at her time. And she did some activism as well and supported people in Hollywood. Which was not easy to do back then. It was not like everyone was in agreement. She put her neck out for people. And I think that is very admirable. And she spoke up for causes that she believed in. She was protective, very guardian, coded. So here's a quote from Marilyn. I am involved in a freedom ride, protesting the loss of the minority rights belonging to the few remaining earthbound stars. All we demanded was our right to twinkle. Ah, I love that so much. It's beautiful. Beautiful quote. And I also see a lot of this guardian archetype in Marilyn behind the scenes. She was always advocating for people, advocating for women to be paid fairly, advocating for Black performers and entertainers to perform, like there's famous stories about this. She said, oh, I'm not gonna, if you don't let this person perform, I'm not going to come to your club, and therefore other people will not come to your nightclub, right? She has incredible influence and she used it. And that is very guardian of her as well. Okay, so our last example of the day is Martin Scorsese, okay? Martin Scorsese, famous film director. He is also Taurus Midheaven. And something that I think of, Martin and Marilyn having in common is this perfectionism and this drive to prove oneself through quality, right? And this I'm gonna make the best picture I can. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make this the best of the best. I'm going to bring across, and this kind of tirelessness around their art that I think is very Taurus. The look, the feel, the style, everything visual, everything, audio, every aspect of their creative process and projects was important. Nothing was half done. Nothing was shoddily done. It wasn't just like, okay, let's just go. No, very Taurus, right? The standards, the quality is a big focus. So here's a quote from Martin. And I think this is also highlighting this aspect of Taurus that loves to look back for inspiration. And he's, a well-known lover of the golden age of Hollywood. He's a film buff and a film fan himself. He's not just looking to make new, innovative, films. It's like he always honored the past. And there's so many, countless quotes of him talking about past stars, past movies, past people's works. He always was a researcher as well. So what he said is, I love studying ancient history and seeing how empires rise and fall, sowing the seeds of their own destruction. So he's a student, right? He's a student himself of his craft and of the past, using it to inform his work in the future. Extremely Taurian. So I love this. I hope you're inspired. I hope this is interesting to think about how some celebrities are living out the promise and the power of their Taurus midheaven. I hope that you are inspired to do the same for you. If you know someone who has this powerful Taurus midheaven energy, send this podcast to them. Make sure you like and subscribe so that you're following along, because we've got a lot more to talk about. Next time in this series, we're going to talk about Gemini Midheaven, the influencer. I know you can't wait for that one. There's a lot of Gemini energy coming up in this particular year, and there's a lot of potency, as always, whatever your sign is, to working with your midheaven. Chat with you next time. Have a great rest of your day. Keep reaching for the stars.